Before we get into the video, I want to give a big thanks for getting me to break the 2,500 sub mark and also reaching 30,000 views in a video. That has been a long time personal goal for me, so yeah, thanks again. Hey guys, Hyeperion here with an update video. Recently there's been a Rework on the Killer Bee event and Nest. Now I'm sure most of you guys know how annoying these were. The Nest taking ages and is barely done outside of organised runs, and the event barely got touched. But that should all be fixed now, as there has been some huge changes added to these. So for starters, let's head to the changes for the event boss. First off, with the overall decrease in difficulty, this encounter is now compulsory again to close the realm, which is no issue because now the Behemoth quiver isn't a dream anymore, and yeah, it's not so hard now. The outer parts of the encounter have less of the lava bee liquid thing and more walkable tiles, and there is now one less nest colony in the map too. So the nest colonies were really tedious, but now they have their HP reduced along with the defense. They also remove one of the invulnerability phases when it's low on HP, and when it does go invulnerable in the end, it's for a shorter time now. And the blue projectiles from the colony now inflict only quiet instead of quiet and weak. This overall makes the clearing of the colonies much easier. Like I'm using a spirit staff here and they still die fairly fast. And yeah, there's no more annoying weak shots too. The Killer Bee nest itself hasn't changed much other than the fact it has decreased HP with scaling, and when destroyed its paralyzed projectile is now a slowing shot, which is pretty cool. For the big bees, when they come out, they now chase the player more aggressively, approaching the player with faster speed if they are further away. They have also become a quest and are pink dots on the minimap. A thing that was commonly hated for most of this bee stuff is invulnerability. So yeah, they reduced the invulnerability timers and flickering for the bees. Some of the other changes for the big bees are that the yellow guardian bee has its rage phase tweaked. It can now go out slightly further, is slower and doesn't flicker with invulnerability anymore. The blue guardian bee is also slower in the rage phase. Some other changes for the encounters are just minor bug fixes, including the excessive spawns and drags and stuff like that. Now onto the dungeon. Alright, before we get into it, there's been some changes to the drops, namely the swarming Huntress set and the Hivemaster helm. The helm just has more clear text now, so it's easier to understand what it does. But the swarming Huntress set has received an overall buff. The bow has a tighter spread at the cost of decreased damage. The trap behaves like an ether orb, slowing out a spot. The armor has increased defense and some small buffs comparable to a spectral cloth, but perhaps maybe better. And the ring, which used to be known as a worst now, it's now giving a decent 80 HP and 4 attack. The overall set bonus has also been improved. For the monsters now, a bunch of them have adjusted HP and HP scaling. The big bees have reduced invulnerability times and basically just don't flicker that invulnerability buff every half second. Also, the blue bees grenade now inflicts silence instead of weak. The mini hives also had their HP adjusted and reduced invulnerability timers. The small bees and minions give less XP, probably to account for the dungeon being made easier, and also the small blue bees, small blue bees inflict silence instead of weak too. Now onto the Killer Queen boss. It has been made much easier and overall still a fun fight. Remember, these guys still hit hard, there's just less confused shots and invulnerability. Anyways, the boss has reduced HP but added HP scaling. Some of its projectiles have been altered, such as the red shots not inflicting confused anymore but instead giving a 10-second exposed debuff, and the red ball giving curse instead of confused. Also the blue balls only inflict pet stasis instead of both pet stasis and weak. There are also new shots which do 80 damage and pierce and inflict slow for a short time. And as expected, the boss has less invulnerability spam. Okay, now for the treasure room, it's also been made easier, so pretty much the confused shots are now replaced with shots that inflict slow. Some of the replaced shots inflict exposed instead as well, in different phases. So also back then, whenever the boss changed phases, it had really long phases of invulnerability, which has also been significantly lowered. Now for the changes in loot. This came off as a surprise, but the Killer Bee Queen now drops T14 armors. Yeah, that was pretty unexpected, but pretty damn cool. Along with significantly increased life pot distribution. The Beekeeper also now drops life pots too, so overall these loot changes along with the ST set buff give a much stronger incentive to complete the dungeon. So that's pretty much all the significant changes covered. I hope you guys are as hyped for the nest as I am, and also I hope the nest becomes a dungeon that gets completed outside of events. By the way, I have not forgotten about my giveaway, it will come for sure, so for now...